haven't signed anyone, or should they concentrate on getting people out the door? Placement, lead, duration, 0. Id 5,800,760,107,001. Uploader, Adam Greasley. Source, 06BEF9C 772FF 856 FCDF B6 F8 F237 B9C80. Content vertical, undefined. Site, undefined. Clearance, network. Source URL, has lead video. True. Interaction, name it 14,822,994. Features, preload fonts. True. External brands. True. GDPR consent enabled. True. Chameleon.cookie policy.enabled. False. PWA. Track offline. True. Bundled CSS. False. Recommendations. https://recommendations.data.tm-awx.com/rhs. Modularx. True. Native app banner. True. Greater than as much as it can be fun for those of us watching at home. Scouting players at the World Cup finals can be very tricky for clubs, and given their track record in this field, Everton know they must tread carefully in that respect. New director of football Marcel has revealed his phone is hardly ever not ringing with agents offering the services of their clients, but any potential Blues signings need to be based upon proper scouting over a defined timescale rather than the whims of an isolated moment in the spotlight during the sports premier tournament in Russia. Before a ball had even been kicked in the competition, Everton were linked with Mexico's Irving Lozano and William Carvalho of Portugal, but if deals for them, or indeed any other targets such as Germany's Marvin Plattenhardt, are sealed and delivered, then the decisions will have been made through the individual's displays over a period of time. Were Everton FC wrong to sell their best striker of the Premier League era? Like panic buys in the January transfer windows, post-World Cup purchases seldom offer great value for money. Brands of course already knows all about Lozano, having brought him to Europe last summer for previous employers. PSV Eindhoven reports the Liverpool Echo. But while that deal with Pachuca was for the relatively modest sum of £7.2 million, the 22-year-old winger's price tag will now have skyrocketed after he scored the winning goal in the shock 1-0 win over Germany, and Catalan giants Barcelona have reputedly entered the race for his signature. Irving Lozano of Mexico is challenged by Joshua Kimmich of Germany. Image, Getty Images Europe. As much as the arrival of a talent like Lozano would greatly excite many among the Goodison Park crowd, if PSV's valuation inflates too much or other high-profile suitors become involved, would it not be more prudent for brands to earn his corn by identifying the next Lozano? Ultimately, Brand's predecessor Steve Walsh fell short by not giving Farhad Moshiri enough bang for his buck, whereas the Lancastrian talent spotter had unearthed diamonds from the rough who became polished Premier League performers at previous club Leicester City. Bargain buys N'Golo Kante and Riyad Mahrez were both driving forces in their shock 2016 title win. A club record spent at Everton just culminated with the Blues looking considerably further off challenging the division's elite than they had been just 12 months earlier. Loftus-Cheek, Wilshere and Vida. Everton FC transfer rumours rated also, for all the splashing out over a summer that had seen Goodison Chiefs operate seemingly quickly and decisively in the transfer market, after becoming bogged down in the protracted chase for Gylfi Sigurdsson. The sum of their efforts crucially omitted a direct replacement for Romelu Lukaku at centre forward or alternative to Leighton Baines at left back. While Sanctosin was subsequently snapped up midway through the campaign, the port side of the Blues' rearguard remains a priority area in the coming weeks. One of the greatest Evertonians of all time, Howard Kendall, lampooned his beloved Blues scouting policy for spotting Alan Ball in the 1966 World Cup final when the Blackpool midfielder was named man of the match in England's 4-2 victory over West Germany despite Jeff Hurst's hat-trick. Everton's Alan Ball, while that recruitment, and subsequent club record £112,000 move to Goodison seemed obvious for a team still dubbed the Mersey Millionaires thanks to John Moore's considerable financial backing, it wasn't until the advent of the Premier League and a more global approach to player scouting that Everton looked to the World Cup to bolster their squad. How Everton led way with the first football pop song Daniel Amokachi's displays for Nigeria at USA 1994 caught the eye of Mike Walker, who snapped up the 21-year-old for a club record £3 million. Although the powerful former Brugge frontman became a hugely popular figure with Blues fans, his displays on the pitch never scaled the heights of his achievements for the Super Eagles, and he would depart for Besiktas 2 years later, after returning stateside to secure an Olympic gold medal. Following the next finals, France 1998, the acquisition of fellow Scot John Collins by new Everton manager Walter Smith was considered a major coup. However, the cultured midfielder, who had refined his game with 2 years in the French league at Monaco after spells in his homeland with Hibernian and Celtic, was unable to replicate his earlier form. Already 30 by the time he joined the Blues, Collins saw a penalty saved by Aston Villa's Mark Bosnich on his debut and was reunited with his old boss from his time in Monte Carlo, Jean Tigana, in 2000 after handing in a transfer request. Everton's John Collins battles with Ian Taylor in November 1999 during the Everton v Aston Villa match. MDTGU2 Arguably Everton's most fruitful post-World Cup purchase was David Moyes' first signing, Joseph Yobo, in 2002. Although initially brought in on loan from Olympique Marseille, the pacey Nigerian centre-back, capped 101 times by his country, would make 259 appearances for the Blues over an 8-year spell. Moyes chose not to do any business after either the 2006 or 2010 finals, instead bringing in some early domestic buys in the former year, Tim Howard, Andrew Johnson and Julian Lescott, while snapping up Slovakian goalkeeper Jan Mucha on a pre-contract in January 2010, which enabled Evertonians to watch him in the World Cup in South Africa later that year, knowing he was already on his way to Goodison. Marco Silva needs to get off to a quick start at Everton FC. At the last World Cup, Roberto Martinez, who was working at the tournament as a television analyst for ESPN, spotted Bosnia-Herzegovina's Mohamed Besic doing a supposedly good marking job shackling the legendary Lionel Messi at the Maracana. Despite the Argentinian star ultimately scoring, the Blues boss, who of course is now coaching Belgium at the current finals, saw enough to convince him that the midfield hardman was worth taking a punt on and prized him away from his Hungarian club Ferencváros. In the subsequent 4 years, some sections of the Gladys Street have taken to Besic's aggressive play, but given the competition for places in the engine room of Marco Silva's squad and possible further additions, a permanent switch to Middlesbrough, where he became a popular figure on loan last season, looks like a decent shout for all parties involved.